Testing, can you hear me? Excellent. We're going to go ahead and get started. All right, we've got a crowd here. Going to start with a question. Raise your hand if you've heard do more with less in 2024. I see some hands. Anyone sick of that phrase yet? Anyone love that phrase? Okay, some surprises here. Hi, I'm Teresa Steffens, AWS Commercial Sales Leader, and welcome to our session. In my role, I have the privilege of working with over 500 small, medium business customers, engaging with business executives and technology decision makers on a daily basis, just like Sean here. In Sean's business, MD Fit, he partnered with AWS, and he didn't just overcome the do more with less challenge, he transformed it into an opportunity. By partnering with AWS, MD Fit enhanced their patient experience, driving new customer acquisition, and identifying new revenue streams. In today's session, you will learn why prioritizing artificial intelligence is crucial for your business in 2025, how to overcome common challenges that may be holding you back, and where to get started in your Gen AI journey in a cost-effective and scalable way. I'm thrilled to introduce Sean O'Brien.
Hello, everybody. So as a quick check, I'll ask another quick question. Who here's had to call a doctor's office to schedule an appointment or a health system, right? Hopefully everybody, or maybe not, hopefully not everybody, but most of us have. So I'm Sean O'Brien, as Teresa mentioned. I'm one of the co-founders of MD Fit. Our goal is to make that appointment scheduling experience as smooth as possible. To that end, I really have a quick personal story I'd like to share about scheduling a doctor's appointment. Last year, on Father's Day, my family is camping at a state park in Pennsylvania. That afternoon, my daughter fell while climbing a tree and broke her arm. 2 emergency room trips later, the whole family had been awake all night, but we were thankfully home safely with my daughter resting. But the emergency room had given us instructions to schedule an appointment to follow up with a pediatric surgeon as soon as possible. Later that morning, still very sleep deprived, I called our local health system's 1-800 number. With the help of a very kind call center agent who spent 10 or 15 minutes on the phone with me, she was able to get me booked to see a pediatric surgeon that very next day. Thankfully, my daughter has since fully recovered, but I still remember that interaction as really a highlight of what was otherwise a very long day. I remember that feeling whenever I think about how our platform impacts everyone who uses it. And with that, I'm excited to share some of the work we've been doing over the past year, but first I'll turn it back to Teresa to kick us off.
In just 1 year, we've seen a remarkable shift in SMB attitudes towards artificial intelligence. According to IDC's worldwide SMB survey taken in February 2024, 35% of SMBs now list AI as a top technology investment priority for the next 12 months. This is more than double the 16% we saw in 2023. We've seen many take a fast follower approach, learning from earlier adopters before investing in the technology themselves. In fact, IDC predicts that by 2025, in a month here or so, 70% of SMBs will demand clear use cases before investing in Gen AI or AI technologies themselves. While the opportunities for SMBs are enormous within AI, it is crucial that you consider a few things when implementing AI. First, business need clearly defined customer and business use cases. Second, customers need strong partnerships in order to ensure cost efficiencies in implementation. And third, you need a willingness to dive in and experiment. And that's why I've brought you one of my fantastic executives to show you how MD Fit did just that.
Absolutely. So who is MD Fit? MD Fit brings together relevant patient and provider information into a single system to ensure that the right patient is seen by the right provider at the right time, every time. The MD Fit platform provides a consistent experience across multiple channels for patient engagement in appointment scheduling and provider messaging. Crucially, our platform supports the ability to configure complex provider preferences, scheduling rules, and symptom triages, All of this comes together to reduce the friction of scheduling and ensure that right patient and physician match. Scheduling a doctor's appointment is a stressful experience. Difficulty scheduling, or even worse, misscheduling an appointment, increases this stress and leads to worse outcomes for everybody involved. Our platform consists of multiple applications, with us today focusing on our Advisor, Patient, and Automate solutions. Our Advisor solution provides core call center agent scheduling functionality whenever you call in to schedule that appointment. Patient provides web-based self-service patient portal capability for scheduling, rescheduling, canceling, and confirming appointments, as well as the ability to send messages to your providers. What we're here to talk about today is, approximately a year ago, we identified an opportunity to extend that self-service capability that we already had on the web to the voice channel, and began the development of Automate. Automate provides patient self-service via integration with the health system's existing IVR phone system. This has resulted in reduced wait times for a patient to talk to an agent, as well as extending the operating hours for those voice interactions.
In today's rapidly evolving business landscape, SMBs face pressures to grow and expand while operating under increasingly tight constraints. Sean, I'm curious, is this something that sounds familiar to you?
It absolutely is, Teresa. Every healthcare system right now is looking at their multi-year budgets and trying to find areas to save. They know they're in an environment where there's going to be continued pressure on the reimbursements they get from private payers, as well as government programs, while they're in an environment where all of their other costs are increasing. So this has really led to every discussion we have with a prospective customer to have a strong emphasis on increasing efficiency and a demonstrable ROI before a project is even considered. Patient scheduling, other than emergency cases, is really the first interaction a patient has with a health system or a provider group. Efficient scheduling really boosts satisfaction and contributes overall to an organization's success. What they really need to do is quickly schedule patients with an appropriate physician, provide appropriate appointment directions. What do you need to bring with you? Is a facility accessible? What insurances do you accept? Ensure that the appropriate provider is scheduled. Am I seeing the right orthopedic surgeon for my specific need? Or provide an equitable distribution across all of the providers. We don't want Dr. Alvarez to have a full schedule and Dr. Zimmerman to have an empty schedule simply because of where they fall in the alphabet, which happens in some cases. Many of the challenges for call centers in healthcare will be familiar to anybody who's worked in a call center, with a few unique twists. Spiky call volume, right? On the Monday after a weekend or the day after a holiday, you see significant increases in call volumes. Most health systems address this by some level of overstaffing or contracting with third-party call centers. However, there can be significant cost and training issues with these. Sometimes there's just an increased wait time for you to talk to somebody during these periods. Scheduling patients accurately also requires a high degree of training for some of these specialties, for cardiology or orthopedics or neurology. That training is, again, challenged by the fact that call centers experience high turnover. The final challenge, generally these call centers can only be open during roughly regularly staffed business hours, sometimes somewhat extended. So, we come to our MDFit Automate solution. Our MDFit Automate solution was born out of the challenge and issues that we just discussed on the last slide. Looking across our customer base, we realized we could extend the success we'd had in providing web-based patient self-service into that voice channel. Our initial design and implementation used Connect with Lex for the conversational chat portion, and then Lambda for compute, connect into the common data repository that is used for all of the applications in our platform. This design allows us to leverage all of the provider scheduling protocols, preferences, and triages that we use in other areas of the platform into those voice interactions. With Amazon Connect, we have the ability to handle a customer's full contact center needs, but we can also integrate just for those automated activities by having their existing call center software hand off to us for the automated interactions, and if we're unable to complete it, we can refer them back to a live agent queue. Currently, our Automate system supports the ability to confirm, cancel, and reschedule appointments, as well as send those templated provider messages for things such as prescription refills, a work or school note, or a question to your provider about pains or symptoms that you're experiencing. This initial implementation worked extremely well for us, with results we'll talk about in a moment, but there are some areas we pretty quickly identified that we could improve on. The first and largest challenge we identified is mistranscriptions for patient-provided input via Lex. This can occur for a whole number of reasons, with some of the most common being poor phone line quality, significant background noise. All of those things can lead to mistranscriptions. To address this challenge, we introduced Amazon Bedrock and generative AI to several of those workflows. One example I'd like to talk through to identify how we were able to impact that quickly is prescription refill requests. Using relatively simple and fast prompts, we were able to take some of those mistranscriptions. If you look up here, in red there, that's an actual example of transcription output from Lex via one of our Connect calls. Right? If you're a nurse and you're receiving that message exactly as it is, you can probably look at the patient's chart, figure out what you need to do, and then process it, but it's not a good user experience, it's not very clean, and it leads to some questions about accuracy. Using some relatively simple prompts, we were able to pass that into Bedrock, and with a high degree of accuracy, correct it to the one on the bottom there. It's worked very well, but we know that traceability is important, so we maintain both the original and the corrected outputs for everything that we do. So this approach of integrating Gen AI at specific points of our solution has worked extremely well for us, and it's allowed for quick iteration. We were able to implement these workflows with Gen AI in 2 developer sprints using a single junior developer, and that included a fair amount of time validating these results against all of the previous inputs with our launch customer, and then working in collaboration with them to make sure that they were happy with the accuracy.
Sean, this is an incredible transformation. You identified a need, experimented on an idea, and iterated on that idea, all resulting in the automation of your patient scheduling. What did this do for your business?
Absolutely. We're incredibly excited about the Automate platform as we've seen immediate ROI for our launch customer. We are reducing patient wait times when a live agent is needed because we're handling so many of those interactions in an automated fashion. At launch, we were able to handle 60% of the items eligible for automation, and we've increased that percentage with tweaks since. The immediate ROI in this case was that launch customer was able to eliminate an outsourced overflow contact center contract after implementation, which immediately returned on the investment they had made in the Automate platform.
Thank you, Sean. I've heard many benefits from my customers about AI: availability, scalability, consistency, personalization, the list goes on. But Sean, I'm curious, what areas didn't work out so well, and how did MDFit handle that?
Yep, so most patient feedback was positive, but there's a certain number of people, probably some sitting right here, that will never use an automated phone system. For those individuals, we want to provide a good customer experience. We provide an opportunity to short circuit to that live agent queue if that's what the individual wishes to do. The other feedback we received was around some of the more complex flows, such as rescheduling an appointment where you have to determine multiple items. I need to determine the provider I'm rescheduling with, the location, the date, the time, and maybe several other factors. With static intents, that can result in a significant amount of back and forth, and in an automated system, that can cause some frustration for the end users. So that's why I'm very excited to talk about some of the work we're going to be doing next. So as I've said, we were thrilled with the initial success, but what are we going to do now? We're going to implement more natural conversation flows for complex scheduling tasks, including new patient registration via the phone, patient triage, and new appointment scheduling with those complex rules we mentioned across all specialties, enhanced appointment rescheduling flows to limit that frustration that we see in some use cases today, and most importantly, because we're integrating Gen AI into more and more of those workflows, we're going to ensure that we have guardrails in place to make sure we're not giving medical advice or answering questions that are outside of the scope. To complete all of this work, we needed some help, and so we turned to our AWS account team, which was able to get us into the Gen AI Accelerator program, working with both AWS and Loca to quickly improve and extend the platform.
So now you must be wondering, Teresa, Sean, how do I get started? First, dive in. Identify a need, experiment on an idea, and iterate on that idea. Do all of this in a cost-effective way by working with your AWS account team and all of your AWS partners. And then repeat that. Align your Gen AI ideas with your business priorities and build an experimentation culture. Sean, I'm curious, do you have any last advice for the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to dovetail a little bit on what you said there, I think the most important thing that we did is we didn't see generative AI and say we need to fit this into our platform because we want to talk about it at a conference. We saw a business problem and we said we can solve that with technology, and generative AI happened to be the right technology. So you really want to solve your business problem with technology, not pick a technology and then go find a problem to solve with it. We looked at our deployed platform and we found that area where we could make the most impact. We didn't start with a full rewrite, we implemented, we achieved success, and then we iterated, and we're going to continue to do so. The last piece I'll throw in is engage your AWS account team. They were able to bring resources to bear to help us get started quickly, and also help engage us with a partner to accelerate where we're going today.
Thank you for joining our session. Please make sure to answer the survey on the mobile app. I think we have a couple of minutes for any questions, if anyone has any questions for Sean.